All righty, we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Nelva Bryant. I'm the host of When Pets Flies, the Veterinary Air Travel podcast. I'm here with a special guest, Iris Felix from PetKey. But before I go into that, let me just about myself, and then Iris, I'll let you introduce yourself if you don't mind. But yeah, I'm Dr. Nelva Bryant. I'm a veterinarian, and I have been working in the airline industry for the past 8 years. And I'm bringing you information that I've learned from that experience. And I basically, from that experience, I developed When Pets Fly as a means to share pet-centered travel education and really educate the masses on how to prepare pets for air travel. It's more than just a logistic kind of do-it-yourself type project. It actually, to make sure that animals being taken care of during transport, a lot has to be done. So through my platform, When Pets Fly, that's what I've been sharing these past few years. If you're interested, I am available. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, on LinkedIn. I have a website, www.winpets.com. And you can email me if you have any questions or really just want to actually work together on projects as well. I'm open to that as well. I have been doing these podcasts now for the past, could say 5 years, and where I introduce everyone to different stakeholders in the animal transportation industry. And today is no different. I have, as I said, Iris Felix from PetKey. And PetKey is an amazing organization and she's going to share information really about microchipping today. Today, we're discussing the importance of microchipping for pet travel. But before we jump into that, Iris, please share a little bit about yourself and your company.
Yeah, so again, Iris Felix. I have been with PetKey now for 12 years, so a long time. We do microchipping for pets. We distribute microchips to pet professionals, breeders, shelters, rescues, vets. And in return, we register those microchips. We also register microchips of those pet owners that just got their pets chipped, or maybe they adopted it from a shelter rescue and it came with a microchip and we need to get that in their name. We also provide pet recovery. So if a pet is registered here with PetKey and they have our alert services, we issue missing pet alerts. So very similar to an Amber Alert service, an email blast that goes out within a 25-mile radius to registered pet owners and pet professionals in the area. And we try to get the word out, saying that there's missing pets, and if anyone has any information, give us a call. So yeah, that's the gist of what we do here. And I love it. I love educating customers about the microchipping. There's so many misconceptions out there about how it works.
I've heard some people say they're thinking that microchip is almost like a GPS tracker. I mean, you hear all these different things. So yeah, expand on that if you can, please.
Yeah, so huge myth. That's probably the number one misconception is that people think it's a GPS. Unfortunately, that technology just has not been invented yet. So it's not that PetKey doesn't offer that service. That type of microchip just hasn't been invented yet.
Right.
So they're internal identifiers. That's what I classify them as, internal identifiers. And they're these little chips that go into the pets, and they have a unique number that ties them to the pet owner. And that's how pets get reunited with their owners. The analogy I love to use, it's like a VIN number to a car, right?
Okay.
Every car has a VIN number, and it's tied to that vehicle and that car owner. And that's kind of like how it works.
That's the perfect analogy, because if you think about it, the VIN number is going to define that car. There could be 10 black Mercedes, blah, 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 but they all have different VIN numbers. So same as with your pets. There could be, I always say, imagine a number of chocolate labs named Hershey. Just imagine.
Right. Or Bella, right? Every dog is named Bella.
Yeah. So that way now there's an identifier with your animal and everything. The interesting thing though, I think most folks really don't want to microchip their pets, and I don't know why the worry or the fear behind it. I mean, true enough, it is injected into the animal. It is a very large gauge needle that does it, but it's quick. I've done it on dogs that were not sedated. or cats that were not sedated, and they did perfectly fine with it. But there's a lot of pet owners that fear this process with their pets, but it does so much as far as connecting you with your pet just in case they get lost.
Absolutely. It's just like getting a vaccination, right? Mm-hmm. It's quick, simple, that the needle is kind of, scary, but very barely do the animals flinch when they get microchipped. Another misconception out there is that once a microchip is implanted, that it's automatically registered. They don't need to do anything else, right? So they have the pet chipped and they leave it alone. And unfortunately, they don't find out until the pet's missing that, oh my gosh, I never took the next step and registered that microchip in my name.
Yeah. That's what, we were talking a little bit beforehand. I think I shared a while back with Emma when she was here with PetKey, but I'll share it on here with you. I do have a microchip story kind of related. There was an individual was working, and it was an individual brought in a dog that she said she had found, stray dog that she found in Michigan. And she brought her down here to Georgia to the wellness clinic where I was working. And we scanned it. And yes, it had a microchip. And found out, lo and behold, they found out basically it was owned by someone up in Michigan. That's not her dog. It wasn't stray. And the interesting thing is the staff members were being kind of, you could say, kind of a little bit nosy. They decided to search because the microchip was related to that person's name, correct? Because they had registered it. So they were being kind of nosy and went on Facebook and researched and found out this person has mentioned that her dog was missing.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, hey, let's stay out of it. Let's let the company and these two individuals figure this situation out. But it was owned by someone else and they were missing their dog. So, so in that case, the microchip works. It does work. It does work. But it was a situation where that wasn't her pet and it wasn't her right to take it out of state. But
wow.
And I'm sorry, I don't know the outcome of it because again, I said, no, that's none of our business to deal with. It's not our business. That's theirs. So let's stay out of it kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's so important. I hear from so many pet owners, once they find out, like, for example, it's not a GPS. Well, what's the point? What's the point of making my chip registered if it's not a GPS? If anyone finds my dog, it's so cute, no one's going to return it back to me. They're just going to keep it. And, there's that side to it, but we get so many calls throughout the day of Good Samaritans, animal control officer, police officers, that find pets all the time and try to get these pets reunited. Are there people out there that, want to do the wrong thing, keep the pet or not call? Of course there are, but you'll be surprised how many people actually do the right thing and try to get these pets reunited. So it does work. We've had stories where pets turn up 7 years later after being lost and, it finds its way home through that microchip. So if it's chipped, get it registered. That's what I always say. Microchip, just get it registered. If it's not chipped, then that's something that you can think about, if you want to do it or not. But if it has a microchip, you might as well just go ahead and get it registered in your name.
Right. And then just think about all the dogs or cats that are in the shelter right now that potentially have their pet owners looking for them, but they're not microchipped to kind of connect them back to that pet owner. And they're sitting there and depending on the location or the requirements for that, say, county, they might be on a list to be euthanized.
Yes, that's the worst case scenario because these shelters and, rescues are so overcrowded that, or if it shows one little sign of aggression, they do unfortunately get euthanized.
Yeah. So this way you'll reconnect with your pet sooner and everything. And sometimes you see pictures of dogs, how they shut down because they're in this environment. They're missing their pet owner and they shut down and they might become aggressive and that's a fear response, not necessarily the true aggression. So they're experiencing all this all because, or say the remedy could have been microchipping them from the beginning. So this wouldn't happen and they could be retrieved.
Yeah. Another thing is the owner did the right thing by registering the microchip, but doesn't update the information once it changes, right? So if they get a new phone and they never call us to update the phone number or an address, So updating the microchip is just as important. When you have those changes, it's crucial for you to call the microchip company and update your information.
Now, what if a person, think about this, what if a person is traveling internationally and their pet is microchipped? Should they potentially call and let them know that they're going to be out of the country? Would that be a help? Almost like if you like I said, we're traveling and you have your banking fees or whatever, you let the bank know that you're going to be out of the country. Can you do that also with PetKey?
Absolutely. We get customers all the time traveling, especially during the summertime, a lot of traveling during the summer. Yes, it is very, very important that if you're going out of town, even overseas, that you contact the microchip company and say, hey, I'm going to be over here for a little bit. I want to make sure that, I have all of my contact information updated. Microchipping is not an international service, or microchip registration, I should say, is not an international service. So if a pet owner is planning on moving overseas, they want to definitely register that microchip with whatever country they're moving to. But, if it's a short period, if it's a short trip, I always let customers know, make sure that they're wearing a tag with their contact information in case the pet gets out. Someone can call the pet owner right away. But yeah, very important for pet owners to contact their microchip companies with any updates.
Oh, great. Now, you mentioned earlier that if they get lost, as far as you give a contact, let's say a 25-mile radius, again, would that just be more domestic type thing? Or again, it all depends if they were out of the country or not, or how does that go?
Yeah, so that service is a national service. So anywhere within the United States, including Canada, the northern part of Mexico, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, those alerts they function very well. But if it's overseas, it's a different ballgame.
Okay. No, great. Yeah. Great. Wow. So let's see. For listeners, you tell me about PetKey as far as why you exist and what you're doing to help reunite the pets with their family owners. Can you think of any other misconceptions people have regarding microchipping, or did we hit all of those?
Misconception that it's a GPS, it's my pets never leave my side. So, there's no need for me to register. I'm a very responsible pet owner.
Right.
We all are, right? But accidents happen. It only takes one door to be left open, and out goes the pet.
Right.
So and it's happened to me a couple times. I had a dog, a Pomeranian at the time, and there were 2 times that she got out, and it was pure accident, right? And one time it was over 24 hours that she went missing, and it was because of the microchip that she was reunited.
Oh, wow.
So we're all responsible, but accidents do happen, and that's what microchip registration is. It's like insurance. You hope you never need it, but just in case,
right?
There, and we're here to help when that happens, if it happens. We hope it never does, but it's there if you need it.
Right. I think that's good though. But yeah, I think the misconception that nothing's going to happen and they're never going to get out of my sight. I think I shared with you prior to coming here. I had done a little research and I was trying to get content, and I was asking a gentleman at a nearby soccer field. He was walking this beautiful black German Shepherd. And I approached him and just said, introduced myself, and was saying I'm trying to ask information about microchipping and if he had his dog microchipped. And he was saying, oh, he doesn't leave my side. He's always with me and everything. But, God forbid, it's always that one little thing. Imagine you having a family gathering. Someone opens a door, shoots out, or they let it out because they think it's okay. They didn't realize that they really shouldn't be off leash or out up on their own, and they're gone.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So they're fast. At the end of the day, they're animals, right? They have animal tendencies. They see a squirrel, they run off. They don't even think twice about it. So
right.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so very important to get folks to understand that. Again, I don't think it's that painful for them, and it must be one thing I want to point out too, as far as the microchipping process too. Get it from a veterinarian, someone licensed to do it. They have to be the microchip, I believe, is 15 digits, ISO compatible. Make sure that is the case with it. Get it from your veterinarian. And I'm stressing that because I actually have seen it on Amazon. You can buy these things on microchips on Amazon, which is scary. That means anybody can give them. And I have actually seen it. it was like maybe a couple years back, I've seen an X-ray of a cat that was microchipped, and the way they did it, they kind of impaled it and it went into its spinal column. So
wow.
yeah, so you need to have it from someone who knows how to do that. To get it from a veterinarian or veterinary professional on how to insert it properly, because you can do it incorrectly and cause damage to an animal.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And we sell single microchips. We do have owners that request they want a PetKey chip, and we mail them to the home, but they always go to their vet and have the vet implanted.
Okay, good.
But yeah, and no pet owner should try to chip their own pet.
No.
It can be very, very dangerous if they try to do that.
Never do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something to point out, to make sure folks understand that. And then also, you know what? One thing that folks have to realize too, as far as for traveling with pets, there's a traveling internationally, with pets. Mm-hmm. There's a order on microchipping and rabies vaccination that you have to be mindful of.
Yes.
In the U.S., unfortunately, because microchipping isn't kind of put as a requirement. In other countries over in Europe, and
it's a requirement.
It's a requirement that microchip has to be first. That's how you connect and identify your pet, and then you can give the rabies vaccination the same day or afterwards. Here in the U.S., since it's not a requirement, say a person is traveling internationally, they now learn they have to get a microchip. Then they'll get a microchip and think they're perfectly fine. But guess what? You have to revaccinate your dog against rabies again and go down that pathway, which may seem like it's too much for the pet to handle, but that is the regulatory requirement to these countries.
Yes. Yeah. And we do get calls from customers who say, hey, I'm traveling overseas. Mm-hmm. What do I need to travel? And that's one of the questions that I find it hard to answer sometimes. I don't know much when it comes to international traveling, even within the States, what is required. So I always tell them, contact the airline that you're traveling with. For example, if it's Delta, give them a call and say, hey, I'm going to, for example, Europe. What do I need to travel with my pet? And I'm pretty sure they'll let you know what is required. Is that the case?
The airlines will definitely put you on, give you an idea of the requirements to travel with your pet. Yes, definitely. But just add on there for the pet owner that's researching, and say you're thinking about traveling somewhere. I'm thinking about going to Australia, and I want to bring my dog with me. I wonder what the requirements are. Well, the USDA has a pet travel website, and you can find out all the information on traveling to various countries and also domestically in the U.S. So that's a good place to definitely look there. But then on top of that, the airlines, like you said, will have their policies too. So folks have to realize when you're traveling with your pet, you have to meet the requirements of that destination. Could be state or country, and the airline policies as well. So it's a combination of both.
Okay. So USDA, that's a good point of reference.
Yeah, that's a good one. Very good.
Okay, that's good to know, because I find it hard to answer that question. I don't have experience. I know that I have a dog myself, and we were looking to travel with it, to a different state. And we called the airline, and we tried to figure out what are the specific things that we need, with the crate size or the bag size, what size does that need to be? If there's a fee for him to travel, how much does that cost? Is it round trip? Is it, so things like that.
That's perfect. That's a perfect thing to do with them. But the USDA is going to give you also for those domestically state requirements. But then also, I would say, please come to my website too. I can share as far as let's make sure your pet is prepared for air travel too.
Yeah.
And what I'm working on is really trying to get veterinarians to also be the voice behind really getting them prepared. Because really, the microchip, the health certificate, the crate, and all that, it's hitting logistics of travel. But we haven't really focused on your pet. Is your pet ready? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are they medically fit to fly?
Right.
Are they, if you've got, and also with that, you were saying the crate within that, we're also looking at the crate or contain or carrier for them, making sure it's the appropriate size, adequate ventilation, and structured properly for air travel for them.
And that they're comfortable in it.
Yeah. You got to make sure they're comfortable in it. You can't put them in there by the carrier one day and then the next day put them in and think they'll be perfectly fine. It sounds like you got a small dog.
I do. He's a Shih Tzu Havanese. He's about 11 pounds, 11, 12 pounds.
Okay.
So he's not too big.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were like, do we sit him on our lap or does he have to go under the seat? And if he does go under the seat, but what are those measurements? You know,
right. That's perfect.
Carrier, and is he going to be comfortable in that carrier? And he's great in cars, but is he going to be great on an airplane?
Right.
You know, so those are the questions that
I love it. I love it. You know, and you know what I love most, that as far as your questions there, is you went straight to the airline to find a source of information on that. You'd be amazed the number of people just go to maybe a Facebook group and ask these questions. And the responses are all over the place sometimes, but the responses could be based upon one person's experience.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that comply with the airline's policies. So going to the airline to find out from the source, what are your requirements?
Yeah.
There. Unfortunately, a lot of these things on Facebook will try to give you tips to go around airline policies and skirt, you know, just kind of how do you evade the system in a sense, which I hate more than anything. I think that's really a poor thing to do. Try to evade a system that is really designed to protect your pet.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
You know, and everything. So when you evade it, that means your pet didn't meet the requirements, and then you're putting them at risk. But always say, but then you say you love your pet. So I love that you said go to the source.
Absolutely. And as we know, the airlines, there's so many changes, right? Day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, there's so many changes. So what was last month, you know, last month can be different this month.
Right. Let me share an update too. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the New World screwworm has been reintroduced into the United States. Originally, it was more by the agricultural industry with cattle and horses, what have you. That's how it was spread. And it was in Mexico. It was under control. But guess what? It has now been reintroduced back into the United States. And there has been one case in a dog in New Mexico. The state of New Mexico has one dog that came up positive with it. And so the regulations behind as far as traveling by air with pets can change. I know very recently Delta has mentioned, and also I believe United has mentioned the need for a specific document that as of August 3rd is required for dogs traveling to Mexico that they must have and everything, and checking to ensure that they don't have any skin wounds or any evidence of an infection in the skin that potentially could harbor maggots and be brought into Mexico and vice versa. Yeah.
Wow. So are they quarantined for a little bit, or?
Well, upon returning, they must be cleared. Coming back to the United States, they must be cleared of it. If they have the infection, they must be treated and quarantined or for so many days before coming back to the United States.
Okay.
So, but that's an example of a changing regulate policies that the airline is having. So folks need to pay attention to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Traveling is, we were just talking about this yesterday. Pets are the new kids, right?
Yes.
Are the new babies.
Yes.
So a lot of people now travel with their pets, or they take them everywhere with them. So yeah, having, again, that microchip, if it's chipped, get it registered. Personally, I don't have a collar on my pet, but if we do tend to go outside to the dog park or the doctor or, just wherever, I do put a tag on him just in case he does run off. So the chip with the tag is extremely helpful.
I'll just tell you, I'm probably a little bit paranoid. I just feel that collars are a way to just be able to sometimes contain them. So without something around their neck, it makes me nervous. They look like they're naked to me when they don't have a collar.
Yes. It's funny because I pick up my dog from the daycare all the time, and we take him naked, as you say. He never has a harness or a collar or anything like that. But it's so important though for them to have it if you're going to be out and about. You just never know.
Yes. I shared with you earlier before we started, but I recently, basically this past 2 years, I've obtained a dog from my niece. She gave me a French bulldog. His name is Pac. And Pac is a sweetheart, but when Pac goes to veterinary hospital, he gets really scared, and all of a sudden he gets, fear, anxiety, and stress, and he gets aggressive. And I'm like, and it throws me off because he's such a lover outside of that. But I took him fairly recently to get his, routine vaccines. And I said, oh, I got to get a microchip. I was like, Lord, I'm not looking forward to this. It's like, I know I wasn't looking forward to it because I just felt like he was going to just stress out so bad. But lo and behold, I found out he was already microchipped. And I was like, thank you. I didn't have to subject him. He was microchipped as a good. I didn't have to go through that. So unfortunately, my niece, what she had not done, she didn't register him. So I finally got him registered to me, and we're all safe now and everything with him and stuff. But yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It makes you scared sometimes when you have pets that show a little aggression when they go to the veterinary hospital. But don't let that stop you from taking them and getting care for them. There's ways that you can move around it to relieve that stress. Sometimes it may require some medications to kind of calm them down, gabapentin, methadone, or something. But they do need care, so don't let that stop you from doing what's right for your pet.
Absolutely. And I wanted to touch a little bit on, you said that this was your niece had rehomed this dog to you, essentially, right? The importance of microchip transfer registration, right? So many pets get adopted from shelter rescue that had previous owners, or maybe things didn't work out. So maybe someone had to move and they couldn't take their pet with them and they rehomed it to someone else. It's so important for you to contact the microchip company and who has that microchip registered and get it transferred into your name. People don't think about that, right? They don't think about having to change that information and switch it over to their information. So if the pet does get out, they're not contacting the previous owner, they're contacting you for
directly.
So very, very important to, if you have pets that have been rehomed to you or even adopted from a shelter rescue, that you contact the microchip company and get that transferred in your name.
Question for you. Can you think of any stories of pets being reunited? Any major stories you can think of?
Oh geez, I'm trying to think of one that was just like, wow. Not off the top of my head at this time, but like I've had customers register their pets just as they went missing, right? They think about it when their pets are missing. And, they asked the question, well, what if my pet was found before I registered this microchip? Like, what's going to happen? How there's honestly just no way of knowing that. But I've had customers register their pet's microchip, and maybe an hour. I've had one within a half an hour, we got a call about their pet being found.
Oh, wow.
We've had calls from pets being missing for 7 years. I think one stands out. One pet was missing for about 7 years. And then all of a sudden we get a call about this pet being found, and we contact the pet owner, and they're just hysterical, right? It's been so long. They've given up hope. They never thought that they'd see their pet again. And just one day, someone decides to scan that chip and give the microchip company a call. So those are the calls that I love, when you call a customer to say, a pet owner to say, we found your pet, or your pet has been found. We didn't find it, but we got a call that your pet has been found, and they just start breaking down. It's just nice. It's nice to be able to do that for a pet owner.
I couldn't imagine 7 years going by and that feeling. It's amazing. As you said, your dog was lost for 24 hours.
24 hours, and I went crazy. It's so hard. I mean, there are four-legged babies, and just the thought of especially at night, that was the hardest for me. Just not knowing if she was okay. Was she safe? Was she out there in the cold somewhere? And just the not knowing was really, really hard. So I can understand when a customer calls in and they're crying because their pet is missing, and they need help with locating them. It's hard.
Yeah, it's been years, and this was many years ago, and my dog at the time, she wasn't microchipped, but I luckily was able to retrieve her back within probably less than 12 hours, but it still was devastating to me to come home from work and my dog is gone.
gone.
Devastated.
Or you get a call. We get call a pet owner and say, hey, we got a call from the Humane Society. Your pet was found. My pet's at home. When I left, it was at home.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah. And so I had one the other day, actually last week. I called a young lady about her pet and she said, no, my pet's home. I just left it at home. And then said, well, we got a call about your pet being found. Are you sure? And she's like, let me call you back in 15 minutes. I'm going to run home real quick. Right. Sure enough, she called me back and her pet was missing. It had gone out the door. She said she looked at the Ring camera. Her and another pet who's not chipped, they both left the house together.
Oh my goodness.
And so they were both together, but because of that one chipped pet, she was able to get reunited with both of her pets.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. And the microchip technology, I guess, is changing. You think about it now. I know companies trying to connect the microchip with sometimes detecting some of the vital signs in animals.
Yes.
That's going on. So the technology is expanding.
Yes, it's checking the temperature now of the pets. So yes, it definitely is. I think pretty soon there's probably going to be a chip that may function like everyone thinks as a GPS, right?
Right.
Hopefully. And the reason why a microchip does not work as a GPS is because a GPS needs to be battery operated, right? It needs to be charged, and it's really impossible to do that when a chip is implanted inside of an animal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe like a motion sensor thing where it charges that way, maybe in the future. But
that might be kind of impossible. But imagine that's impossible. Are there any other technologies though that maybe PetKey is looking into in the future potentially?
I really want to look into like tags, like air tags. A lot of people, pet owners they purchase air tags, and yes, the collar can come off and the air tag can come off. But I'm pretty sure there would be a pretty good chance of locating their pet if it went out right away, if it's an hour or something like that. But I think air tags, I think it's something that I would love for us to look into. Yep. Some sort of like GPS collar or something like that.
Mm-hmm. We've got a comment from someone here, and I don't have my glasses on. Can you read what it says?
It says,
"Wow, that's great. Pet 7, yeah." So
Yeah.
someone's listening. We've got someone listening. Thank you so much for listening, Mohammed. But yeah, you'd be amazed. You would think by 7 years though they would have forgotten about the pet, but thank God they didn't.
Well, yeah, and maybe not all the way forgotten, but they probably just lost hope, that it's not going to happen. It's either unfortunately maybe deceased out there, or maybe has a new home with someone else. But yeah, 7 years is a long time, and you can only imagine how those pet owners are so excited.
That's very exciting to be reunited after all that. And the great thing about it is, well, good for them is that number one, they kept the registration is there. So actually that's a good point, something to think about. Once you register your pet, as far as making changes in it, I mean, this person after 7 years, I guess, same phone number, same location. Awesome.
Yeah.
So for the life of, how long do you keep these registrations is the question.
So it's for the life of the pet, as long as they're living. So once that chip is registered for life. I have pet owners call and say, we do check-ins every year for maybe a renewal of alert services, right? Our pet recovery services. And sometimes pets are still missing after a year. And we'll say, well, they'll say, well, you can just delete my account, just cancel my registration. And I always convince them, no, let's keep it open.
Let's keep it out there.
You never know. This pet may turn up sometime in the future. You just never know. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost anything to just keep it registered. So let's just leave it the way it is. And a lot of times they choose that route. They say, fine, let's just leave it as is.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. And that's the importance of making sure that your contact information is up to date. It's so important. There's nothing more frustrating than calling a pet owner about their found pet and we can't get a hold of them. Also having an emergency backup person, right? If we can't get a hold of you, list a family member, a neighbor, a friend, even a vet, and have them as a backup in case we can't get a hold of the pet owner about their pets.
No, that's perfect. That's really good. Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I think we've covered all the things we wanted to do for this. Is there anything further you wanted to add regarding PetKey, future plans with PetKey?
Yeah, no, this was awesome. I really would love to get more into the traveling.
Okay.
We do offer, registration certificates, ID cards, especially the ID cards. I think those are really great for traveling. It has all of the owner's information, all of the pet's information. It looks like a little driver's license with the pet's picture.
That's good.
Lists the vaccinations, especially the rabies, right? The vet's information. So I think that's really, really great for traveling. The ID cards, we do offer those on our website. The registration certificates, we mail those off, laminated certificate. But I would love to get more into the traveling because I do see a lot more people traveling with their pets.
Well, I would love to work with you guys in reference to that and see what we can do. Maybe you can develop some customer education, client education in reference to that to help them better prepare their pets for air travel. And again, from my standpoint, I want them just to see this is all a part of readiness with them, but there are other key features to ensure their pets are ready for air travel to focus on that. But this is definitely, truly an extremely important portion of it because you want to be able to retrieve, well, in a sense with travel, you're connecting that microchip number from the document to that pet and everything. And that all has to connect and everything with them. So definitely willing to help.
I would love that. I would love to work more together on that. Yeah, a lot of customers calling in with travel questions and things like that. So I would personally love to be more knowledgeable in that.
Okay, glad to help you. Glad to help you. Well, is there anything further you wanted to add for us today?
No, thank you for having me, Nelva. I really do appreciate this. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And again, I'm putting your information up here to make sure if anyone wants to connect with you there. These are the ways to connect, a phone number and ways to connect with PetKey on email and through, email and through the website, basically.
Through the website, yeah. So contact PetKey if you have pets that are microchipped, you're unsure of how microchip registration works. We love to educate customers and, answer any misconceptions that are out there. But yes, please reach out to PetKey and we love to get your pets registered.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Iris, for joining with us. Thank you, everyone else, for following along with this episode of When Pets Fly, the Veterinary Air Travel Podcast. Stay tuned. We'll have something in the next couple of weeks. But again, thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You hold on, though, please.